Hey, what's up? Today we are going to go over the best nightmare dungeons for XP, and I'm telling you, you're going to benefit quite a lot from this video because this way you can target specific dungeons and just farm it up for a while. I'm also going to show you how to farm these and just something for you to do. Of course, some people say, hey, why not just complete it for the glyphs? Honestly, why not just level up off of one good dungeon? For example, this first one is going to be Champion's Demise. This is probably one of the best dungeons currently because it's packed full of enemies. Not to mention, I was able to grab about 1.2 mil XP from this. If you're with some teammates, you're going to benefit from this quite a lot. Now, in each clip, you should see the amount of XP I start with and then the end amount, like so. This, again, is probably one of the best farming spots, so continuing on towards Melwood, this is the second best spot that I would recommend because this one's also jam-packed with a lot of enemies. This specific dungeon is well worth farming because I was able to grab 2 million XP just from this one nightmare. Now you might be wondering, how the heck did I acquire that much XP? This was all due to an event that's within this location, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. Because in the recent patch, of course, they have increased the XP quite a lot. So when you do go into these dungeons, you can grab just a crap ton of XP from these. And right here is the proof, because prior I had 10 million XP. In order to reach the next level, I had to reach 12 million, which is 2 mil. So I was able to pick that up from this one dungeon. Number 3 on the list, we have Wrathwind Wilds. And by the way, these dungeons are in no particular order. You can actually approach it however you want. So if you want to farm this one, for example, over and over again, you can absolutely do that. And I'll show you how to do that at the end of the video here. What you can tell right here is a crap ton of enemies. And this is pretty much condensed throughout the map. Like literally, as you go through each part of this dungeon, you're going to see quite a few enemies. And it's really good for XP. So if you do come across this, why not farm it? And then if we take a look at the XP bar right here, you can tell that I have 1.6. What I was able to pick up from this dungeon was 1.5 million. Of course, if you're with a teammate, you might be able to pick up 2 million from this. Number 4, we have Alderwood. This is another exciting dungeon because it has quite a few enemies that are pretty condensed together. Not only that, there is an event that you can participate in which will yield you quite a lot of XP. This is where you can definitely take advantage of the enemies that do spawn in, because once you reach past that mastery, you still are able to grab a crap ton of XP from it. So, of course, it will benefit you more if you're able to complete those masteries because you can grab more loot, potential chances of legendaries popping up and all that good stuff. Now, there is one thing to note here because we do not want to complete the dungeon when it comes down to resetting these nightmares. Because if you do complete the dungeon, this will automatically complete the nightmare dungeon, so you're kind of forced to just either find a new sigil or probably craft another one, right? So these are your options. What you can see right here is going to be the XP at the bottom. This right here yielded me 1.8 million, which is not bad at all considering the one prior was 1.5 and the one before that was 2 million. Actually, the 2 million beats all of them. Moving along here at number 5, we have Sunken Ruins. This right here has quite a lot of XP. I was able to gather 2.2 million just from this one dungeon. These enemies are pretty packed together. They do not leave any room. They actually love to just kind of rub against each other, which gives us the perfect chance to freeze them and add some collateral damage, of course. And what you can see right here is the XP bar at the bottom and how much I was able to pick up. Number 6, we have Abandoned Mineworks. This is filled with quite a few bugs. Make sure that you do take advantage of these bigger fellas that do shoot out those extra spiders. This way you can benefit from more XP. Typically, I just freeze them and shatter them like you see right here. If I was smart, I would have grabbed some extra XP just by letting them kind of burst out. This is another fun and useful dungeon to level up. We are now going to move on towards number 7. This can be found near Kiovashad, more so towards the west here. We can locate this dungeon, which is going to be the Gloron canals, if I'm pronouncing that first part correct. This is another dungeon where these enemies stay pretty compact together and you can just have a blast with farming this up. This dungeon, I was able to yield 1.7 million XP, which is pretty good, but not as great as the last 6 there. Let's now show you how to restart these dungeons. It's pretty simple. So first and foremost, activate your sigil, go towards the dungeon, and make sure that you obviously go inside. This next step is pretty simple because you just want to obviously exit out of the dungeon. You can do this by using the emote wheel, or you can open up the map and exit that way by clicking on the stair icon. So first, what I'm going to show you here is myself progressing a little bit further into the dungeon so that the fog of war is sort of revealed on the map. And I'm going to take out some enemies as well. I'm not going to free this captive, just I'll leave that person there and then just straight up exit out of the dungeon. We are now outside. Let's tap T on the keyboard or down on the D-pad if you're on console or possibly even using a remote. What you can do now is just wait it out for 2 minutes. I typically head straight to the town because I tend to have a crap ton of legendaries and rares and all sorts of stuff that I typically trade in or sell. Sometimes I even take some of those aspects if they're really, really good, like you're seeing here. Anyways, once 2 minutes have passed, go straight through the portal here. And what you should notice is when you enter inside the dungeon, it's going to be completely reset. You can rinse and repeat this as much as you like. What I recommend is the dungeon that I showed you that can give you up to 2 million XP. Highly recommend it. This is probably the best way to level up. Remember to always rinse and repeat the dungeon by what? Simply exiting out of the dungeon, teleporting straight to town. Because I feel like at that point you're just going to have to scrap stuff eventually because of these dungeons. And then just go back straight through the portal after 2 minutes have passed. Go into the dungeon and everything will be reset like I've just mentioned. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video so far. Thank you to everyone that does support the channel. It means a lot to me. Make sure that you are subscribed and you have the notifications on by clicking that notified bell. Other than that, if you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section. I will try to reply back within the first hour or two. And once again, thank you to everyone that's currently subscribed and is a member. See you all in the next one.